Thanks for inviting us in on this Monday night. It has been 4 days since the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, and now we're starting to see some states trying to put abortion bans in place and some courts trying to stop them. Trigger laws in 8 different states right now are facing legal challenges tonight. And for instance, a judge temporarily blocked Louisiana from enforcing its trigger law ban, allowing some clinics to resume abortions. Here in Indiana tonight, the state attorney general is asking the courts to lift injunctions against several Indiana abortion laws. However, state lawmakers won't take up the future of abortion here in our state until next week. It's tonight's big story.
This past March, 100 Republican state lawmakers signed a letter and sent it to the governor, asking for a special session if abortion rights were overturned by the Supreme Court. That day is here, and so is that special session on July 6th. The Republican supermajority is expected to pass some sort of abortion ban during this special session. Insiders within the party tell 13 News if there are any exceptions to that ban, they would be very few.
Those exceptions could include pregnancies in case of rape, incest, or where the mother's life is in danger.
Human life begins at conception.
That's the belief of Republican State Representative John Jacob, who's a born-again Christian. Jacob's also a father to 3 daughters and says the only legislation he's willing to support is a total ban of all abortions in Indiana, with no exceptions.
I am consistent in my beliefs. It would be horrific if one of our daughters was raped, but I do not believe that the problem is solved by murdering the child. The child is an innocent bystander to this.
They have the supermajority, but we still have a voice.
Democratic State Representative Cherish Pryor says Democrats still have a responsibility to speak up, even with the expectation that Republicans will pass some sort of abortion ban. Whether there are exceptions like Representative Jacob is against.
It's going to be quite interesting to see whose voice is the loudest and who wins that debate in their caucus.
For Representative Pryor, not just a lawmaker, but as a woman.
But it's troubling to me as a woman that we have all these men in the legislature that's going to have a say as to what happens to my body.
Governor Holcomb has stated that he's pro-life and called the special session an opportunity to make progress in protecting the sanctity of life. Whether that will include some exceptions in some circumstances remains to be seen.
Emily also heard tonight from other state lawmakers from different sides of the aisle. Middlebury Republican Joanna King sent us a statement saying, while it's too early to know what form any legislation will take, I'm committed to saving the precious lives of the unborn while strengthening our support for new and expecting mothers. Indianapolis Democrat Vanessa Summers sent us this statement saying, so far, our Republican colleagues haven't been forthcoming with their plans for the future of abortion rights here in Indiana.
Shortly after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, former Vice President and Indiana Governor Mike Pence took to far-right conservative outlet Breitbart to reiterate a desire for more broad restrictions on abortion. Having been given this second chance for life, we must not rest and must not relent until the sanctity of life is restored to the center of American law in every state in the land. Now, Pence wasn't the only Republican lawmaker who hinted at support of a nationwide ban. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell called the Dobbs ruling, quote, courageous and correct. The Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade did make it more possible that a nationwide ban could be imposed. These are some of the ways Republicans could push a nationwide ban through.
The easiest avenue would actually be just by bringing legislation in the House or the Senate. Now, of course, that's just one path. The other would be a constitutional amendment, which would be unlikely to pass. It would take a lot of time. And so I think they would try to do this through federal legislation.
We have more about the implications of the overturn of Roe v. Wade at WTHR.com.
CVS and Rite Aid tonight are limiting purchases of emergency contraception. Both of those companies are only allowing customers to buy 3 pills of Plan B. CVS says this is not a supply issue. The drugstore is instead citing an increase in demand since the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. And that wraps up tonight's big story.